James from Boulder. Wanted to chat about this Rich Eisen show topic that came up about how much patience should Justin Herbert have with the Chargers. So let's talk a little bit about this video. We'll add the link in the video that you could take a look at this, but really good topic. Let's talk about it. Let's go. Bolt Bros. Let's go. All right, guys. And this is something that I've really thought about, even not just with Justin Herbert, but just players in general, like elite base players. You got to think with this team and the Chargers, I mean, history wise for us, I mean, we've had a lot of legendary players out there. Junior Seau, Ronnie Harrison, Dan Fouts. Let's go with LaDainian Tomlinson. Um, Philip Rivers. We've had guys, even Drew Brees, if you want to throw that in the amount of legendary players. Hence, he is a Hall of Famer and won a Super Bowl, not with the Chargers, but we've only had one Super Bowl appearance as an organization. And you start thinking, as these players, that man, they should have had a Super Bowl. They should have won a Super Bowl. They should have gotten to that level, and they didn't. And you start thinking a lot about this team, and you start thinking, man, does Justin Herbert want to stick around here? So it's an interesting thing. But basically, the caller calls in and says, hey, like, would Justin Herbert move on from the Chargers essentially? It's something really interesting to think about because you start thinking, man, the history does say that I might not succeed here. You know, Now, just to think of where Justin Herbert is, who he is as a player, what level of play he can be, and he has been for this team, you know, you would think he would want to stick here for loyalty. But you never know. We'll see kind of where it goes. Regardless, if let's just go back to the 2020 draft. I mean, you had Joe Burrow as one of the top picks for the quarterback class. You had Tua and you had Herbert. Three very solid players. Tua has been getting beat up quite a bit, but as I'll keep on topic with Justin Herbert being the third picked quarterback and has been playing at a very, very high level. Regardless, Burrow is going to get his bag. Guaranteed he's sticking with the Bengals. Now, that's an organization that, once again, they did just get to a Super Bowl. Amazing to see that. And still is playing at a very high level in right after that Super Bowl. Doing very well. He will get paid. Now you start thinking Justin Herbert, he will get paid. Will it be with the Chargers? Not sure. We'll see kind of where this leads. But bottom line, Herbert will get his bag. Now, giving you some within this video, it starts talking about, will he stick around? Will Justin stick around? Well, let's talk about where the organization is at. I mean, currently out in Orange County in Costa Mesa, fantastic weather, great food. You got the beach. You got pretty much anything and everything there. They will be having a new practice field in El Segundo. You got obviously SoFi Stadium, one of the most amazing stadiums you'll ever see in the world. All the media is basically in LA too. NFL Network headquarters is there right at SoFi. You got to think of the industries that are out there and sponsorships you could get for being in the LA market. I mean, before they had the Rams and Chargers in there, it was the number 2 NFL market in the nation. So having two teams there, the most amazing stadium there, plenty of industry there. There's a lot to be said to stay in LA. He could go to a place like Wisconsin, go to the Packers. I mean, different. Do you want to live out there? I probably would say no. And I probably would think a lot of the players will not live out there. But what I'm saying here is that what's a better place than to live there when you have fantastic amenities there? You have everything and anything you want there. Why would you move away from that? Now, he is an Oregon kid. He does like to kind of live in that type of weather. There is obviously no Oregon football team other than college. But I think this is a place where he wants to go to. Now, talking about that, when you're a rich individual, which Herbert is already at this point. Now he'll be generationally rich, just like what Rich Eisen said. Why would you want to ever leave a place like that, even for how expensive it is to be able to live out there? It just doesn't make sense. Herbert will be getting paid more than Philip Rivers in his lifetime of contracts with his second contract, essentially, his first extension. So well over $200 million easily. I'm expecting that. Who knows what amount of guarantees are involved in that? But you start looking at the Deshaun Watson contracts. You start looking at, you could even put the Patrick Mahomes contract. You can start looking at these contracts that are really big. Even the Kyler Murray contract is probably going to be a very good comparable based contract for Justin Herbert, in my opinion. But the big thing about this is he's going to have plenty of money, regardless if he's here or not. And he could go somewhere else, and I'm sure go get that same type of contract somewhere else. But all the amenities here in Los Angeles are second to none. I mean, you're going to have the best of the best there. And so it'd be very, very difficult and an odd thought if they're going to move on from him and let him walk. The big thing is, though, hurdle this Spanos. They've never spent this kind of money on a contract for one individual player. This is going to be a big, big task for him. Now, of recent, we all know about all the signings that we have done and all the players that we have gone after. You got Austin Johnson, you got Bash, you ended up going after Kyle Van Noy, you ended up going with the JC Jackson signing, Mike Williams. There's a lot of big money that we spent in this offseason. So it's a very, very uncharacteristic to see this team want to do this and this ownership to want to do this. That's going to be saying a lot here because once again, we're going to have that contract come up. We're going to have Slater's contract come up too. We will see where this all lands. But this video really has a bunch of good points that Rich Eisen pointed out about this. And his show is in LA. So he knows very much about LA and kind of what the amenities that are all there. In the end, it's what Justin Herbert wants. And when he communicates that to his agent, basically he'll be the voice for him on this and what he would like to do. So one of the other side of it is that adding to this conversation that Rich Eisen had, Herbert's a fan of the Chargers, right? Remember that picture of him and he had a Charger shirt. He wrote down that he wanted to play in Los Angeles for the Chargers, which weren't even Los Angeles Chargers at that time. He just kind of manifest that to happen. He is a fan of the team and a fan of the organization. And you can even go back to the Dan Fouts connection with Oregon, that he is a fan of this team. He loves this organization. Now, is that going to be enough if you start thinking he doesn't make the playoffs and continuously feels like he's not getting that extra to this organization or getting that extra love that he needs around to be successful? Who knows? Time will only tell. Now, the coaching staff being restrictive? Because there is a little bit of a body language sometimes where you feel like Justin Herbert's just frustrated with everything. I don't know if that's just because of his injury or if that's play calling or whatever it might be, or even pieces around him right now that he is having we know what he can do and we've seen what he can do. It's to watch Justin Herbert struggle, and we know I actually saw a stat recently, just throwing it out there. He leads the league in completions at 20 yards plus in the league right now. Phenomenal talent. We know what he needs to do. We just need to allow him to be able to be the player that we know who he is. And outside of that too, just to talk about who Justin Herbert is to the LA market, you got to think of all the sports teams that are there. The Dodgers, Angels, UCLA, USC, Lakers, Clippers, the Kings, all these organizations out there and sports teams that are out there. Guess what? They all know who Justin Herbert is. They know what he could do. They know how elite the guy is. So I think that it's one of those things. LA loves their stars and they want to keep their stars. Think of the time when Shaq and Kobe were together with the Lakers and just the amount of championships they brought in. Think of all those times. So he is one of those great additions to the LA market to bring that more star power to the LA market. So I don't imagine him going away or anything like that. But I think that he is going to stay here and he's a great asset for the Chargers to build our brand of football in LA, which going back to this caller that called in, he kind of said, "Hey, I'm a caller from San Diego. Don't let anybody fool you, but there's a lot of Chargers fans still in San Diego." And I agree 100%. So we're building a market, a newer market for us, with also having our fans still in San Diego, still rooting for us. So what I'm saying here is he is a major asset for this organization to be able to grow this team out and to grow our brand awareness in Los Angeles. So, bottom line, I don't think he's going anywhere. He's got to get paid here. If he does end up going anywhere, man, you're going to see the bidding on Justin Herbert go just bonkers. You got to think all the teams out there that would love to have a guy like that. But for him to stay on the West Coast and just be a short flight away from basically going back to Oregon, LA makes the most sense for him to stick around. But it is an interesting conversation. History does tell us that we've had a lot of legendary players that have not got to the next level. So I'll add one more little bit here to this. We are right now, what we did with the signings in this offseason with Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco, this is the most I've ever seen try to support a player in his rookie-based contract and support a player in general to make sure you build a strong team around him so he can succeed. So very, very good discussion. Loved this video. We'll add the link to the video in this description. But once again, James from Bolt Bros, want to hear you guys' comments. Want to hear what you guys think about this. We love hearing from you guys. Like, subscribe, and comment. Once again, guys, James from Bolt Bros. Let's go.